when I think about climate change, um, I think about a lot more than what we're typically taught about as far as what that means in regards to rising sea levels or receding ice caps and I acid rain. Um, as far as the conversation typically is the input of certain greenhouse gases like into the environment, and from from my studies in environmental science and so forth, like gas is just one input that changes our climate and or environment. The pavement that we create our cities with like retain a certain amount of heat, and the way in which they off gas create a certain shift in local climates, and as a result also climates throughout the world. And I I come to sort of a similar place that I've heard a lot around this circle, which is that the antidote for me sort of seems like it's balance, it's harmony. It's how are we in healthy relationship with our environment and with ourselves. And I know for myself, when I'm in healthy relationship with myself, that things flow and I feel accessed and resourced, and same thing with the environment. And when I think about climate change, like I grew up in Tucson in Arizona in a desert, and growing up we had one of the best quality waters in the entire United States, and we grew up like with a lot of pride around that. And I remember sometime midway through middle school, we stopped using our groundwater because we had mostly used it up. And I then started hearing stories where the Gila River, that went through all of Arizona, used to be a river that ran steadily throughout the year, even though we're in the so-called desert. But when I grew up, I just saw a dry creek, and maybe sometimes during really rainy seasons it would flood. And so for me, it's really hard to pinpoint. Like, I can think of stories just a few years ago when it snowed in Tucson in the middle of the desert in April, and how things were just not the same. And so for me, it's learning how to come back into harmony with myself and harmony with what's around me.